The Forever Alone Filmmaking Podcast is brought to you by no one. Because nobody gives a fuck if you make your movies or not. That's why you gotta go out there and do that shit on your own, pimp. Tonight's show features Jimmy Screamerclauz, creator of Tainted Milk and Where the Dead Go to Die, and M. Strange, creator of We Are the Strange and Heartstring Marionettes.
Hello there, and welcome to the Forever Alone Filmmaking Podcast. I'm animator guy M. Strange.
I'm other animator guy, Jimmy Screamerclauz.
Yeah, and we're here to talk animator, do-it-yourself. We don't have any friends and have to make animated movies by ourselves. Talk.
Real talk.
Real talk, yeah. So, there's one thing about doing stuff this way that there's reasons why no one else does this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, and
time consuming.
And also, you can't. It's really hard. You know, a lot of people want to have what they say. They want to have a life.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience, to do it, you have to make making your films your life.
Pretty much. It is pretty much like that. You just have to have a lot of time to devote and just really no other distractions.
Right? Because, like, your characters won't animate themselves, like, when you're gone.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, if you're rendering it all yourself, too, on all your computers and not sending it off to render farms and everything, like, you gotta check everything. And a lot of frames just kind of slip out on mine. So, like, I'll get weird jitters in mine. And I'll have to go back and fix them, and it's hard just to separate just that chunk, too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why you're always supposed to render image sequences, too, and not movie files, because, you know, you can go back and just re-render those single images, but even that's, like, annoying and can drive you crazy.
Yeah, it's like you gotta drag the whole thing back in again to the net render queue, which is where you queue up all your shots that are going to render. It's like you gotta drag it back in there and figure out. Because when you do, you have to delete all the multi-passes too, I found. Otherwise, it doesn't even count them. So I have to go through clicking out all the little frames one by one.
You know something I learned, like I was watching the Tron, like the original Tron making of, and they said in that process there were all these errors, like blips and like weird things, and instead of taking them out, they left them in and then put sound effects over them to make it seem like they were supposed to be there. So like in my last movie, when I get like some weird blips or geometry flipping or black frames, whatever, I just kind of left them and tried to like play them off as part of the look inspired by the Tron thing.
I kind of did that too.
You did?
I kind of did that. Yeah, well, when I sent it to Unearth too, he's like, it kind of makes it feel trippier that their heads just twitch randomly. Maybe you shouldn't even fix it. I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's a big
just
thing.
Kind of
like,
went with it.
Playing off, but you have to play off your mistakes, right? If people think, oh, like this is on purpose, then it works.
Yeah, you can't have too many of them too.
Yeah, so
it just happens every now and then.
But you have to do it more than once, or else, because if it's just once, it's like an obvious mistake. But if you keep doing it, it's like, oh.
Or you just didn't learn your lesson. It's like, oh, he didn't learn his lesson the first time, apparently.
But, you know, like, I still do that shit. Like, you know, like, fucking walk cycles or stuff that I just hate doing. You know, there's a lot of hard things. So, like, I would make them fucked up on purpose and make it a style so that I wouldn't have to, like, do it the right way because, you know, it just was too much work or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it just comes down to. It's just a lot of work from beginning to end. And it just stretches on and on and on forever. And it's hard to see the end of it sometimes. Like, especially when you're, like, right smack dab in the middle of something, like, long.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like you look at what you've already done, and then you see how much more needs to be done. And it drains. It's very draining sometimes.
Unless you're a super control freak tweaker and you break it down to, like, every shot that you're doing on every day, and you can see the next 10 years of your life.
Well, exactly. You're much more organized than I am, too, and I'm just all over the place, and I never really know what I'm doing next, and that just adds even more.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about the pros and cons of that, because there is pros and cons to both techniques. So I think for the technique where I do everything, where I fucking plan everything out like a fucking nutcase, because I don't have anything else to do in my life, like, I know, like, pretty much, like, the next year what I'm doing, like, day to day by workflow, and every day I have a shot quota. And so I think the pro on that is that you'll always stay on task, so you know what you're going to do and you know how much time you have to do it. But then the con is that it kind of takes away improvisation. where you won't explore shit. Do you find you improv a lot when you're?
Well, what I try to do is I just write the script, and I try to get the script as good as possible, but still with like areas that I can kind of make up more, change it later on, like not too hard to change. And then I record with the actors, but I try to make the actors like ad lib a little bit too, so then they add lines in as well. So that's why I have to record the actors first. So I get a lot of their ad libs and stuff like that, and then I go in and I just kind of start doing it from the beginning of the script until the end. I don't storyboard or anything like that. I read the script and I just kind of see a shot list. Like I make a shot list.
Yeah.
But then I get all confused, and sometimes I'll have like a shot that I just can't even figure out. So for months on end, like the beginning of the movie will just have like a scene missing frame in there because I just can't figure out what to cut to.
So you can get like lost in the woods in the middle because you're like, how long is this? How much further do I have to go?
So for the last one, the last short I did, The Mask That the Monsters Wear, that's it was the first time I did all the animation before I started editing it. Like, because usually for the other two, I would animate and then bring it right into Premiere and just edit as I go. For the last one, I didn't do that, and it kind of had its benefits and it kind of didn't. And then for the new music video I went back to the old way, and I just edited as I went along, so I knew exactly what I needed next.
What were the benefits of doing it that way?
Well, the benefits were that I didn't get too obsessed with one shot, because I would animate and just render it, and then it would just kind of sit there, and I wouldn't even really look at it to check if I did it wrong. You know what I mean? So then I could just move straight on to the next one and not sit there and tweak the same one over and over again.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the bad part of my technique too, because sometimes I'll just spend forever on a 1 second shot, because I'm like, oh yeah, this shot that's in the sequence is supposed to be that shot, and yeah.
Well, how do you do it? Do you edit it as you render them, or do you just wait for a while?
Yeah, so I script it, then I storyboard it, and then on my last film, and all my previous stuff, I always made animatics. To get an idea for the timing, but on my new one I'm not going to do that because I found I never really used the animatic when I got to the edit, or even in animation. Really early on I would try to tweak stuff out, so I would have every single shot number, have it storyboarded, and then from the animatic I would take the shot time and even put that in there too, so I knew how long the shot was when I went to animate it. But then after doing it that way, I just found it was way too restrictive, and I wanted to be able to play with the shot time, so I stopped doing that on the new one. But yeah, so I just break it all down so that what's supposed to happen. I mean, this is true. I'm coming, from even though I didn't go to school, but I'm doing the traditional animation filmmaking technique, so that your edited film should match your animatic. It should just be the same thing. Your animatic is the offline edit of your movie. So what I do is that I work in sequences, so I usually break the movies down by location. So it's cliffs, forest, ocean, and then I break those into sequences, which I'll try to do over a month or something. And then once the sequence is done, I'll cut it together. And then if it works and it's tight, then good, I move on. And then, so yeah, I edit it as I go. But what I didn't, no, actually, you know what? On We Are the Strange, that's what I did. Because I was rendering.
You edited as you went?
I was rendering as I went, so then I edited it as I went, right? But on Heartstring Marionette, I was like, nah, I shouldn't have this process where I'm waiting for render so that I can animate again. So I animated the whole movie in a straight shot, over 10 months or something. Without, I was rendering it as I went along too, but I wasn't watching it and cutting it. But that was kind of, then, you when you're done and you watch it and you're like, oh, this shot's fucked up, or this and that. I would render previews here and there for action shots. But what I learned is for the next movie, I'm going to use, in Cinema 4D, you can use the OpenGL, the hardware renderer.
I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, it's just playing it back in your viewport, so it's super fast. You can even turn off the textures and all the lights, so it's just super fast. So for my next movie, after I animate a shot, I'm going to render it out with the hardware renderer because it takes no time at all. And then I'm going to cut the movie together with the hardware renders. You know what I mean? So that's what...
Oh, yeah, and then just to see it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
With no render time, it's super fast.
I also find that like when I edit it as I go, I also kind of get obsessed with watching what I've done like over and over again. You know
Yep,
what I
that's
mean?
what I did last
Because
week.
you have little bits of it. And you just like a little 2 minutes that you've seen 1,000 times, and I'm like, oh, you can see the next 2 minutes in your head, but it's like, oh, but now I got to get them out of there and into this magic box that talks and has my thoughts in it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's what I did on We Are the Strange, and then I'd be like, oh, I should change this, I should change that, and I kept going back and changing the stuff that was already done. So on Heartstring Marionette, I was like, no, I'm going to finish it, and then I'll go back.
I mean, it does make it better at times. Like, it does help the film sometimes, but it also can make the film take a much, much longer time.
Yeah, I guess, I
Just
mean, that's
getting
one of the
obsessed
things
with it and going back over.
that we have to, like, weigh, right? It's like, yeah, we're trying, we
Mhm.
want to make this stuff all our own, but, I mean, we don't want to take, like, 10 years doing it either, so...
Yeah, it's because like time is never really on your side. You know what I mean? Because you can work on one movie for a really, really long time, and like get it perfect and everything. But then you gotta sustain yourself for that time that it takes to finish that movie. And well, you definitely know.
and
You've been working on that for a long time.
I mean, perfectionism, or like that doesn't keep you going, like in any way, like creatively or financially or whatever. It's like 10 years and I have the perfect movie, but by the time, I mean, I'm sure like 5 years in, you're already fucking dead. Like I'm like 5 years into since I put out my last movie, and I'm already fucking dead. And I'm not trying to like make it perfect. I'm just it's the music that's taking a long time. But yeah, I think even if you did that, and then nobody would care either. Like
That's
the
the thing.
perfect movie.
Nobody really. Nobody sees like the movie that's inside of your head. They only see the one that you actually end up releasing or finishing or whatever. So like, as great as the one that is in your brain, like nobody's really ever going to see that one. So sometimes you got to move away from that one.
Yeah, I found that's a big thing. Like I figured that out. I was like, you know what? Nobody cares. Like if this is perfect or 90%, nobody cares. So just do your best and like move on. Because I don't think I've never had anybody like, do you want to see the world's most perfect film? Like maybe I don't have the right friends, but no one's ever,
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just you got. It's just with the time thing. It's just like the way I figure is just you have a lot of things just kind of floating around in the universe, generating income or whatever forever. Like you can kind of live off that. So if you can find a way to make a movie a year, or a movie every year and a half, and just do that until you got like 5 or 6 of them just floating around in the world forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know who I saw that does that is the dude on Unearthed Films, F. Sudol, who did City of Rot and all those like zombie movies. I think he kicks one out like every year, every 2 years, and he just keeps putting them out in the market, and they're not making millions of bucks, but they're out there, they're selling, he's getting income, and then you just start stacking them, right? And then...
Yeah, the head of Unearthed, Stephen Byro, he said that he did very well off his films, and his new one, even though it wasn't on the label, he still like helps distribute it and sell it in other countries and stuff like that. So it's he seems to be doing pretty good. I know he did 2 with them, and I think the newest one's the one that's just being distributed by their label or something like that.
Yeah, I think
something
he
along
has like
those lines.
he might have like 4 animated features he's done or something, or 5 maybe.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe he got like a couple other ones.
Yeah, maybe we should try to interview him on our new podcast.
He could be on the show too.
But I think that's like the whole long tail strategy, just to put out a bunch of stuff and like keep. But it's not like I know the instinct for me at least. It's like you make something and then like you're waiting for this big thing to happen.
Yeah.
Like someone to fucking give you a golden egg, or I don't know what the fuck is supposed to happen, but it doesn't happen. So it's
exactly.
So it's like make it,
and
right?
Waits forever.
Move on, make another one. Finish that, make another one. Just keep going, because I think for us to be successful, like, or to get out there and do the shit we want to do, we just have to keep making stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And if more people kept making stuff too, then there'd be more of an audience for it as well. Because then one person sees one of our films and goes, "Hey, I wonder what other kinds of weird 3D films there are out there." And then they stumble upon the rest of us too.
Yeah, right. It becomes like a thing. If there's like
it becomes its own little niche.
Yeah, how do you make a movement or whatever? Like what? There has to be like 4 or 5. Because like there was the mumblecore fucking film thing or whatever, and it's like, yeah, maybe that's.
I don't even know what that one is. What's that one?
I don't totally understand it, but I think it was movies made with like emo white people and nothing ever really happens, and they just kind of mope around, and it has something to do with the relationships. I don't know.
Oh well.
I like giant monsters and
yeah, exactly.
samurai, so wasn't watching those.
So what subject were we on? I think we got a little lost.
Oh, time.
Time.
Yeah.
Time.
I mean, dude, that's what, I think the normal person, like, you start working on something, and then maybe in 15 minutes, if it doesn't, like, give you gratification, like, you quit. So,
well, I just think it's like you wait for the script to be done, to show it to people, and you wait for people to read it, then, get on board with it and everything. Then you wait to make the movie, and then when I sold the movie, it was like a 6-month wait between, when it's released.
Go to Die? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. When I sold that one back in September, and now it just comes out at the end of this month, so it's like just sitting here waiting for that to come out now, you know what I mean? It's just like waiting. Well,
I guess what keeps you, what I'm saying, like normal people, like I feel it sometimes, like I'm modeling or something, and I'm like, oh, this is boring, I don't want to do this shit. Like what keeps you working through all that time?
Like I'm not really even sure. Like it's just sometimes I do have to take breaks for like a few days at a time. Sometimes like I just can't do it. I'll just open up the program and just stare and just not be able to do anything. I think it's especially because I don't like storyboard or anything like that. So sometimes I just can't make up what the next shot is. Like I just can't. It just doesn't come to me. You know what I mean?
But what keeps you going? Why do you want to still sit there and fucking do it? Like.
It's I don't know. I really like having finished things that I can show to people. It's just that the journey there sometimes is just really just headache inducing,
Yeah.
It just goes on and on forever, and it's just so hard to see when it's going to end. And that's just the way I just do it. I just listen to other filmmaking stuff to keep me going sometimes too. Like I ripped a lot of commentaries from my favorite DVDs onto my hard drive, and I'll put them in the Winamp or something like that and listen to them. Because that's another thing, is like sometimes I'll just waste hours just like trying to find something to listen to while I'm animating, and I'll just skip song after song after song. Here. So if I put on like a podcast or a commentary or something like that, that's like a good solid 2 or 3 hours where I don't have to touch anything or like think about anything else. So that's one way I do it.
Yeah, because I usually put on like my favorite movies, like random stuff like Escape from New York or Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust or something, like, just to have it. Because there's like, you ever heard of the Japanese manga Berserk? It's like crazy ass. It's like fucking most epic manga like ever.
I don't really know much about manga or anime. Like I never really got into either one of them, so I don't know anything.
Yeah, like the dude who does that, it's like epic, dude. It's been going on for I think like 22 years or something. There's like 35 books, and for the first whole part of it, it was this one Japanese dude by himself writing the story, drawing all the books, and he was like kicking out so much shit, and he worked alone, and that was one of the things that inspired me when I read an interview with him, and he's just like, they're like, oh, what do you do on your time off? I don't take time off. And like, he was all hardcore, but he said when he's drawing, he's watching TV the whole time. Like he said, he just has a TV on, and and he just keeps working. And then Osamu Tezuka, who's like the godfather of manga, like the guy who pretty much invented fucking anime, and they did this thing where they filmed him in his studio, like hitting camera, and he was just had TV on like in the middle of the night, just drawing. Because I think like me, I don't know about you, but I kind of have like some kind of ADD or some shit.
I was about to say, like, I have some sort of like obsessive personality. I think that keeps me going too. It's just like I get obsessed with shit and I have to do it.
Yeah, and I have
to.
Like
it defeats me.
If I just have to work, I won't stay focused. But I have to put on a movie or some shit to listen to, so my mind's like, yeah, I'm being distracted by that, but I'm still working. Like I have to have some
reward.
Usually. But yeah, definitely. Oh, controlling, obsessive, like.
Yeah, it definitely takes some sort of obsessive personality to just sit there and click in the Magic Cinema 4D box like all day long, just like move the arm, no, move the right way, damn you.
Yeah, or I mean for like animation, like looking at a loop of like 9 keyframes or something over and over and over, like no. I mean that's what I'm doing, and it's not like
it's. And the timelines get like so complex that there's just like patterns and patterns and patterns of keyframes, and it's just like looking at all of it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, doesn't that make you feel hardcore though?
It's just like I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Like when I was in production of Heartstring Marionette, like I was taking photos of those keyframes. I'm like, I'm so fucking hardcore. Look at those F curves. Because I think we were probably in the similar boat. Like when I started, I was afraid of animation because I never went to school. I never learned how to do it traditionally.
No,
so
me either.
I was always like, okay, just move the character. Like I started using Poser and stuff where it was kind of like they help you along, where it's like you don't have to know about the rig and all that shit. So
yeah, that's still what I do. I still don't know anything about rigging. I use that Interposer plugin, and I just import poser models in and just like manipulate them any way I can using whatever tools I
right?
can.
Because they're your actors. You don't give a fuck about like...
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted them to look like people. Like that was my wish. Like I didn't want anything special. It's like I just want like some human looking things and a dog I can make talk. If I could find that, then I'm all right. And then I did.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't think you're afflicted with the CG geek disease. But there's like, dude, in 3D and stuff, like people that are way into it, they're like, ha ha ha, Poser, Dad Studio, ha ha ha, that's a joke. And it's because those people just want to work for like Pixar or George Lucas or whatever, so they're just like, they have to be someone else's bitch and do exactly what that person says, so they have to use very specific tools or they won't get hired. But like, if you're making your own movies, you don't give a fuck, right? It's like whatever works.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I got into animation as like an alternative to dealing with people and actors and everything like that. Like I came from like just a regular filmmaking background. I never wanted to, like I always kind of wanted to be an animator when I was in high school and stuff. But I never knew how to draw. And then when 3D came along, I was like, oh, I can just do this, and it just kind of accidentally happened, And it's like I never wanted to learn enough to. Because I never thought it would go this far. Like I never thought I'd make a whole feature film like this, and consider even making more feature films like this. Like it was just this kind of thing that I did, I just made one short, then one short turned into two, and then one short turned into three, and then three shorts turned into a feature.
See, what did that for you? Because for me, it was like the problem solving. Like, oh, I can do this. Can I do that? Oh shit, now I can do that. Can I do this? That's what kept pushed me further. I mean, inspiration too, but did something like that push you to keep making more?
Well, the way the first Tainted Milk was the first 3D animated thing like I did ever. Like, well, technically not. I made like 3 shots in this other film I made in Maya, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I don't even know how I got those 3 shots that I got. I just faked it somehow.
Yeah.
So I was releasing a new vinyl because for those of you who don't know, I do like speedcore music too, and everything's released on vinyl on techno music. Mm-hmm. So I was releasing a new vinyl, and I just basically wanted to make a comic book that came with the vinyl. And then as I was writing the comic book, I was like, this could make a funny little cartoon. So I was like, how can I make this into a cartoon? And I just broke that one down into shots, and I just opened up Cinema 4D and all the poser shit, and however I could figure out how to make that shot is how I did it. And like, that's how I learned. I just did shot by shot. It's like the first shot in Tainted Milk's the first 3D thing I did ever. And like it just goes on like that down that thing. I just did one shot at a time, just figured out how to make it happen. And any way that I can cheat and cut corners in any way, I did, and I still do. I just cheat any way that I can, basically.
Yeah, I think you're in the same boat as me. That's why I love After Effects, because it's like there's so much you can do in there, and it's like, it looks tight, and yeah, cheat and do it in there.
That's because I never really expected to be an animator. Like I never knew. And then after that short, I just kind of started showing it around, and everybody really kind of liked it. So I was like, well, what if I made a more serious one? So that's when I made Liquid Memories, and then I accidentally sent it to Unearthed. Not really accidentally, just not really trying to do anything. And then they said, if you make a third one, we'll pick it up. So then that was my motivation to make the third one.
And then all of a sudden, he became a professional filmmaker.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, like I'm an actual filmmaker, and it's weird because it's like until you actually like release something, you really don't even count. It's like nobody wants to talk to you, or like I remember sending all my trailers to the news sites and stuff, but nobody wanted to put them up and everything. But then like it gets released through a distributor, and they send it to the website, and now it's like on every one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, it's the same. That's what I thought about the internet too, and a different note. Like, oh, it's all open, so there'll be these big popular blogs and things, and anybody like us can get press. And it's like, no.
I mean, you kind of can if you get the right people at like the right time. You could sometimes slip through the system.
But there's tons of gatekeepers. It's just
exactly.
The old media system kind of replicated itself. There's still a lot of open things, but it's not like
Yeah.
If your publicist contacts them, maybe, but I don't have a publicist.
I don't really have one either.
But because I mean that's the thing, because a lot of people like hit me up all the time or whatever and asking me about like, how do I become an animator? I want to make my own films. What do I do? And the thing is, it's like, yeah, I didn't say that either. Like, I wasn't like, I'm gonna be an animator. I just was making live action and I couldn't get people or whatever, and I just started fucking with animation. But what I always found, like you said, you just wanted to complete these shots, right?
Yeah.
And that's
yeah,
why
exactly.
I think the best way to learn is through necessity. It's like, how do I learn how to animate a guy running? Well, fucking make a film where you need a guy to run, because then you're going to find a way to make a guy run, right?
And that's still kind of the way I am, though. I still kind of only know how to do what I need to. Like, when I write scripts and stuff, I don't kind of like, oh, I know how to do this, so I should just do a lot of that. I just kind of write, and then I figure out what's possible and what's not,
Yeah, like on Heartstring Marionette, I learned a ton, and then on the next movie, I'm purposely writing in stuff that I don't know how to do, because I'm like, then I'll learn that, and then so then in the process of modeling, I'm like trying to figure out, like, I have a character with a hood that needs to retract and like do stuff, so I'm like, I don't want to use claw simulation because it's too slow, or how do I figure out? So I purposely plan things that I don't know how to do, so then I'll learn them, because I think that's the best way to learn shit, is to force yourself by your movie,
Yeah, it's like I don't really practice animation in between my films. I just kind of, like, my films kind of are my practice. Like, I just kind of do.
It's not like I don't practice. No.
That was kind of pompous, wasn't it?
No, I'm just a geek. Like, I have an experimental folder on my computer, so on Cinema 4D, I'll just try, like, how do I make a dude, like, get sliced in half, or how do I make a fire shoot out, and then I just save it in this experimental folder, and then when I'm working on a movie or a project or whatever, I'll be like, oh shit, I need fire, then I'll go dig into those files and copy and paste them into this stuff, so.
Yeah, I just can't. I would love to be able to do stuff like that, honestly. I wish my brain kind of worked like that, but like, if I do stuff like that, I just feel like, why am I wasting my time? This isn't going to go in a movie. I need something that's going to be in my movie.
Yeah.
So I just kind of try to keep it like that.
Well, because that's one thing I do too when I break down a project. Like, after I storyboard it, then I make a construction list. So I write down all the things in the movie I have to build, like all the models, all the sets, all the special effects, and then I go through and like make them all. So that's part of that process. It's like doing that hood or doing whatever. So I know it is going to go in the movie, and I'll save time later. Because it's like, if you're animating a shot and you're like, okay, now time to break this door down and make it explode into splinters, and it's like, oh fuck, all right, how do I do that? But if you already have it in your folder, then you just
see. Yeah, that's another thing with talking about the time, is I did run into a lot of problems like that. Like, I'd come into, having to shatter a door. Like, that's a good example, because that is something I did run into on the last film. It's like I had to shatter something. It's like, oh shit, I don't know how to do that. And that literally took like a week and a half for me to watch all the right tutorials and find the right plugin that actually worked right with my poser shit and net render.
So that's why you want to do your R&D ahead of time.
That's why I should stop being such a dick and just start fucking practicing. Practice makes perfect.
Because, when you're going to use it, like, and then it's kind of fucking cool.
You're definitely right.
Because, when you're working, when you're animating the movie, it's like you just want to move forward. You want to finish a shot, keep going. So then if you can just drop that in, already done, it's tight. You don't have to, like, tweak on it forever, and it's like, bam.
Yeah.
Because there was a part in Heartstring Marionette where this giant monster, like, bursts through the ground and, like, comes up through the ground, and, like, the ground shatters, and, like, trees fall down, and, like, all this shit. And it took, like, like a day's work just to do that one part. And I did it ahead of time. So when the shot came, I just, like, pasted it in there and, like, bam,
Yeah. I do that, too. It's just that I have all the, I still have all the original files on my computer from all three of the movies and the music video. Like, I still have all the Cinema 4D files and everything. So I'll just open up the old shot again, and I'll have to find, like, the light or whatever, the swinging light. For anyone who sees the movie, when you see the swinging light bulb, I copy that many, many times in many different things. So I just use that all. I open up the shot where that swinging light bulb is, and I just paste it all the time now. But then I have to wait for the whole thing to load too, so it is a pain in the ass. I should just separate them like a normal person.
Or,
I just can't do things like that. I can't be organized. Like, my brain's a mess. It really is. Like, my whole life is.
It'll force. I mean, if you keep making movies, I think it's gonna force you to be organized, because you'll fucking go nuts. Like,
But for anyone who's ever come to my house, there's just crap everywhere. Like I just live in a total chaotic state, like for my entire life. I just can't stay organized, and that is a big problem. That is a
Well,
big problem.
I'm disorganized outside of my, like, in real life, but inside of my computer, it's organized. That's like the only place I'm organized.
Yeah, that doesn't even translate to me for that.
No.
No, everything's just like I just have folders with all the shots in it labeled badly, like just like scene number 5, and then like this, it wasn't scene 5 anymore. Like it got moved to scene 6, and I just never bothered to change the numbers again, so I'd never really know what scene goes where.
Well, yeah,
It's just a big mess, just a big horror. That's why I can't really work with anybody else either, though, because they'd never be able to understand.
No, that's true, dude. Like, I had to, working with other people, you're like, oh, fuck, I can't just give them this file. Okay, I need to encapsulate all the texture. It forces you to, like, break your stuff down so you can share it or, work with someone else. But I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, yeah, that's why I don't really work with anybody either, because there's so many just files I have that are interdependent on other files and all this stuff. But, I mean, that's where, that's what I learned to, if you just have your whole movie, say it's 1,200 shots. Okay, shot 1 through 1,200. Go make it. But that's still too daunting, or you can't really be organized like that. So that's where I break it into sequences.
Yeah.
So Heartstring Marionette had 11 sequences, which was broken down. No, actually, no. Let me take that back. It had 45 sequences. And they were broken down by location changes. So there might be 200 shots in one location, only 5 in another. But, because when you're working like in 3D, if you're in one set, like that set's lit up and like set up so you can just like animate in it. And what takes a long time is to like set up another set. So the way I work is like the set's all lit and set up, animate all those shots, boom, move on to another set, it's all prepped and everything. So for me, and then for your shots too, it's just like, I'm doing sequence 20. Where's the sequence 20 folder? And, so it's almost like making 45 different short movies.
Yeah, but it is a good idea. I halfway do that. Like when I first start the movie, I get all the key characters made, and then I get like most of the locations done. But then there's always a few locations I just don't even do, and halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh damn it, now I need to go to that place, and I have to make it real quick, and that slows me down too. So for my next movie, I really do want to try getting like actually breaking everything down and shots and everything like that, and organizing it better.
The content browser in Cinema 4D at all?
No, I've never used it.
Yeah, I didn't use it on We Are the Strange, but on Heartstring Marionette, I used it for everything, and I use it for Badassery. So it's like, it lets you preview all your 3D files, so it shows what they look like inside the files in Cinema 4D, like in a window. So then I put all my shots in there, so you can just look through them and see, oh, there's the shot where he runs, and all your files, all your models, all your texture. So.
Oh yeah, I think you showed that in one of your making ofs, right? I remember seeing that.
So I use that nonstop because I'm like, okay, I need that light. Where is it? Did you open the content browser and I can see it? Oh, there it is. So I use that for like everything. Or say there's a shot that is the same exact setup and has the same characters as some other shot, but they have like different lip sync. So I'll just open the old shot, save as the new one, and then just change the lip sync, and then bam, it's done. So.
Yeah, I kind of do that motion capture. I reuse a lot of the same motion capture over and over again. And just have it all saved in a big motion capture folder.
So, and that's just you're like downloading stock like BVHs and just using the BVHs.
A little for the first 2 movies, that's what I did, and then halfway through the third short, I bought one of those Xbox Connects and I hacked it and did the whole hack for it. It's really not even a big deal. You just kind of install the software and it does all the work for you.
Yeah, and there's a plug-in for Cinema 4D, right, or something? I saw a plug-in that lets you use it in Cinema, too.
Oh, really? I haven't used it in that. I use it just in IPI Studios, the name of the program. Like, it just does all the work for you. It installs all the right drivers and everything. So halfway through the third short, I started using that. And I just keep it, but I just keep all, it exports BVH files at the very end. Like, that's what you end up with. So I just have all those saved out too. And sometimes I'll just mix and match motion capture. Like I'll just take a leg from one shot and an arm from another shot, and like you can just build whole new shots like that and just use them over and over and again. That's a big cheat for me too.
I guess the thing that messed me up when I tried to use them, how do you get around this, is like they weren't always set at like World Zero space.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get a BVH and then the dude's like way off into space, and then it's like, wait, what? You put him in a null and bring him back? Like, how do you ever get that? Or are they all in zero space automatically or something?
Well, the way I do it is I use Daz Studio when I do the motion capture, because Daz Studio has that animate plugin, and that's where it has all your. I convert all my BVHs to I think they're called blocks, animation blocks, something like that. And I convert them all to that, and then you just go through them, and they have their own little plugin breakdown. And that's how you mix and match them. And then I usually get them all centered and everything in there, and then I export the motion capture data from Daz, and then I bring it back in Cinema 4D and put it on my characters and do all the lighting and everything in there, dynamics and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, so you can...
So I never had to do it the other way, so I don't really know. Like I said, I've never modeled anything, so I don't really know how all that works.
Yeah, and that plugin, I guess it's called Connect C4D plugin,
and that does it for the actual Cinema 4D rigs.
Yeah, it's 908lab.de if you look it up. So yeah, I guess I never tried it. I don't have a Connect, but yeah, you can just use the Connect and straight capture into Cinema 4D with it and put it on the rig. So
that's cool. I wanted to try that new the R13 rig. I used R13 for my last short. But I didn't really play with any of the new features, so there really wasn't even a point in using it. I could have done the same thing in 12, but... Yeah,
I was messing with the demo, but they, screwed up my whole workflow, because, do you use a visual selector at all?
No, I don't even know what that is, honestly.
So that's the thing, if you saw some of my tutorials or whatever, so it has, that little... That's a picture of a guy, and that's where you click to touch their IK controllers.
That's the thing, the poser things don't even have IK. You got to do it all either motion capture or manual.
Oh, okay.
It does have an IK, but I've never actually gotten it to work right. It always just morphs into some weird thing. It just never looks good.
Yeah, so if you want to use a regular rig in Cinema 4D, then you can do it a bunch of different ways. Some people don't use it, but I use a visual selector. And from 12 to 13, they changed the behavior of when you click on the controller objects.
Mm-hmm.
So before, you can always, when you click on the controller, it would, you can put a command. You could say, choose the move tool, the rotate tool, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then now you can still do that. But if you choose, say, on a bone, the neck bone, you just want to rotate that. You don't want to move it. So you want your thing to automatically go to rotate, right? So you don't have to go press R to, do it. And then when you switch to the hand, you want to move. You want the move tool, so you would want to switch to the move tool, which you can still do, but when you select it that way, it doesn't select the object in the object manager.
Mm-hmm.
So that say you wanted to click on the hand and then you wanted to see what keyframes are on it or erase them or whatever. Now you can't. I don't know why they changed that. So now it's 4 extra clicks for me. So I'm just fuck this. So on my new movie, I'm planning to still use 11.5 because that one's the type.
Oh yeah, not even gonna go to 12.
Nah, because 11.5 works, and there's nothing in 12 or 13 really that I need. The only thing, the biggest difference is just the Python. There's all that Connect plugin. You need Python, and all this new shit uses Python. In 11.5, you can't use Python, but yeah.
The only weird problem I have in R13 is whenever I anything that has an object menu on it, especially with text, I've noticed. But whenever you push the object menu, it seems to lag and freeze for a few seconds. And I don't know. I've tried to look up the error and whatever, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to search for something like that.
When I was messing with Cinema 4D 13 too, the content browser with my old files was crashing like crazy, and I couldn't even use it. So I was like, I use a content browser nonstop, and I need the visual selector. So I was like, fuck this. But yeah.
Yeah, that was the only real problem I've had with R13 so far.
So yeah, I mean that's one thing people don't know that, but yeah, we both use Cinema 4D.
Oh yeah,
use After
we probably should have explained that.
Huh? And we both cut in Premiere, right?
Yes. Yep. Well, I never had I've never owned a Mac in my entire life, so I've only had Windows programs to use my entire life.
Yeah.
And I never liked Avid. Avid always just kind of screwed me up, and Vegas just never really seemed up to standard or whatever. And I started out on Premiere. That was the first editing program I ever had way back in I guess it was 2000, 2001 around there. The first one I got. So I just kind of stuck with it all along because I never found a better alternative, and I never had a Mac to use Final Cut. So it seems like the best one for Windows.
Oh yeah,
what
well, you know, like I tried all of them and I used all of them. And the thing when people are like, I use this editor, or like, I'm a master editor, and it's like, dude, what the fuck, dude? Editing, I mean, if you're talking about a narrative or a movie, or it's like in point, out point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they all
I don't even do anything else in Premiere. I do everything else in After Effects anyway, so it's really just cutting together.
Yeah, so I'd say any editing program, like you can learn how to use it, and they're all the same pretty much. They have like more, I think, you know, about these programs, it's just about the integration, like how well they integrate with other programs we use. But I mean, even 3D programs, we use Cinema 4D. I mean, I like it because it's the easiest, but it's like pretty fucking powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it can do pretty much the same things. Like, it does have some limitations. Like, its liquid system's really lacking. Like, what do you do for liquids? Do you just do metaballs?
Yeah, I mean, metaballs and a particle emitter with like MoGraph dynamics on the balls.
Yeah, I use RealFlow like most of the time, but for the last music video, I tried to use metaballs, and metaballs and Poser didn't mix together at all.
Dude, well, they're super, like, the only real practical thing where they worked was me doing like the vomit and badassery, but that's because
well, yeah, that's what I was doing, was all blood and vomit. So.
Yeah, it looks okay for vomit. Blood, like, actually, I did a lot of blood experiments for Heartstring Marionette because I didn't know what I was going to do, but there's like one tutorial on C4D Cafe using the vector blur in Cinema 4D with particles. And that can look like liquid spraying if you do it right. And
I think you used that in that clip you sent me, right, for the VHS trailer that you sent me. I think because he's my character's stabbing somebody through.
Yeah, no, I was using particles. I was just using regular particle system.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, you know, the particles, do they? You know, in Cinema 4D, I'm using 11.5. So the particles don't have dynamics in that one, but you can use a gravity field and deflectors and stuff like that to kind of mimic dynamics. Or you can put, in the particles, you can put a MoGraph cloner with one object and then a sphere and then a dynamics tag on that, so then they'll have dynamics, so you can do some, like, and then put that in a metaball. That's how you would do fake, like, liquids.
Yeah, because I think liquids is the biggest thing that program's really missing. Well, like, they got hair down pretty good now.
That's where people trip, because I guess Blender already has, like, a dope liquids module built into it.
Oh, really?
And Blender's free, so.
Yeah, I never used that. I've really only used Maya. I think I tried 3ds Max once, but it was like I was trying to decide between that and Maya, and I think I chose Maya because it had the most training. Yeah, like online training. I think it was, and then like that just blew my mind. So then Cinema 4D was the next one I tried, and I never really tried the other ones.
Yeah, but anyone's using, if they're using Blender or whatever, they're all, you know, whatever works for you. Yeah, it's all pretty much the same. Like, we just have, it's whatever you got into and you're most comfortable with. So. But I mean, that's the weird thing too, right? Because did you ever think? I mean, I hope you don't take this as an offense. Did you ever think you would be a computer geek?
I kind of always was when I was a kid too. Like, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, like with nothing around. Like, the nearest stores were like, you know, a 2-mile drive away or whatever for the corner, you know, the little corner convenience store and the video store and shit. Yeah. So we didn't really have a lot to do, like, growing up. So luckily, I begged my mom to get the internet somewhat early, and I just kind of, from then on, I was just always kind of an internet kid anyway. Because,
you know, for me, like being an artist or creative person, like when it was always around people I knew, like computers or being a computer geek was like bad. Like if you're an artist, you're like, yeah, you would never fuck with a computer. Like, yeah, you're too, I don't know what, you have too much going on in life or whatever to sit in front of a computer. You're too exciting. So that was. I'm
pretty unexciting though, honestly. Like I don't go anywhere really. I don't go out.
Yeah, me neither. I just like, I have no issue with it myself. I'm just like,
that's just kind of the way I am. Anyway, so it kind of all just made sense that I ended up like this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a creative person today, and you know, you have to use a fucking computer, like.
Yeah, pretty much. It can definitely be a setback. Like, not knowing how to use the technology can definitely slow you down.
Yeah, I guess on my desk, I have this old floppy disk, and it's from when I first, like when I was in college, I was saving up money, and I was like into making little skits and movies with my friends, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a computer because I heard you can edit movies with computers, like, you know, I'm gonna buy a computer and then it'll solve all my problems or whatever. And I think we had like a super old Mac, like SE30 or something. Like I didn't even know. Like my sister knew more about computers than me. I'd have to ask her to show me how to do stuff. And so I was like, oh God, I'm gonna go to the store. I got $50. I'm gonna go buy computer editing software. You know, I'll just do it all on there. And I bought this floppy disk, and it was called like Video Maker or something. And I was like, yeah, all right. And then like I put it in the computer, and it's like, okay, plug this wire into your camera. And I was like, okay, all right, oh, and then all it did was rewind and play the camera. Right, so you're supposed to rewind, play, and then mark it in point, out point. It was offline editing, and then you'd make your time, you know, your edit, and then you would go make movie, and then it would just rewind and play the camera in the VCR, and like, I was all, oh, that's fucking gay. You know,
it'd be an interesting experiment, though. You should go back and try to do it like that again.
Yeah, but I mean, now I keep it on my desk, because if I'm ever like, oh man, these programs are too hard to use, or blah, 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 it's like, it's fucking insane. I mean,
I had a high-tech camera rewinder.
You know, like, fucking iMovie is like a million years beyond the best shit, like, back then.
Yeah.
Let alone Cinema 4D and After Effects and fucking ZBrush and everything. So people that are, like, complaining about the tools now or whatever, it's like, dude, come on. Like, you don't know how fucking good you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we were kids, we didn't have, like, Windows, even anything, like, as low as Windows Movie Maker, even, like, pre-installed on the system. Like you said, you had to find those discs where it was just high-tech camera rewinders when it came down to
Yeah.
So it's like now anybody can just open that one up, start tinkering around with it, like at an early age, you know? Like kids, like when we were 10, like if we had the opportunity to use Movie Maker on our computer, you know, who knows, you can easily jump to another program much faster, even just using something like that.
Yeah, see, and I think I think maybe it's good, because I think if you, I don't know, I don't know who studies this shit, but I'm thinking maybe if you start too soon with technical tools, it might hurt your creativity, because, you know, not having those advanced tools, we just had to use our imagination more.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
You know, like if I was worried about polygons and fucking points when I was like, you know, 15 or something, I don't know if I would have came up with the crazy ass ideas that I did then or something. I don't know.
Well, I remember my first impression of 3D was, like, I thought I was going to have to actually learn how to, like, manually make every sphere and, like, cube and everything like that. So, like, I was preparing just to, like, watch 2 hours of videos just to learn how to do something like that.
Wait,
then I remember
you're not making all your spheres?
Not from scratch, no. But I remember watching the first tutorial video ever, and he just clicked it, and there was a sphere. And it's like, what? You can just do that? Like, how's that even? Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm like, well, where did it come from? Like, where was it? Like, I still don't really get it. It's like just this magical, weird world.
Yeah, I was mesmerized. I went to this when I lived in Los Angeles. There was like this Apple center where they'd have like free workshops and free demos, and there was some dude. It said like 3D animation or something, and it was like a guy giving a Maya demo, and he was super dope. So just like click, 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 and created like a chain with a ball on it, and then made the chain like smash through this wall, break into pieces. And I was just like, oh shit. Whoa, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, we have the personal learning edition you download. So I went downloaded Maya like 3.5 or something, and I was like, yeah, yeah. And then after an hour, I was just like, oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Once I got past how easy it was to make a sphere, I realized how hard it was to do anything else, really.
Yeah, I tried to copy that guy and got nowhere. It's like I made the sphere.
Yeah, I realized there wasn't a stab other character button like already pre-built in, so.
Yeah, and I really wanted to learn because that's what I wanted to do. And then there's a school there in Hollywood called Noman. They put out tutorials, probably heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen a bunch of theirs.
So I had a friend who worked professionally as an animator and like did visual effects, and he's like, oh, dude, I'm going to the school. Or he graduated. He's like, you should go there. He gave me a tour of it. Said, yeah, you can live in my house, whatever. It was like 25 grand or something. I was like, okay, I guess I'll go in debt and take loans, you know, to do this. Because I thought that's the fucking only way I'm going to do it. And then I was just like surfing around, then I found like Cinema 4D, and I was like, oh, well, let me try this. Let me see how far I can go with this, and then like if I can't, then I'll go to that school. But I never went to that school.
Well, and maybe you were better because of it, because a lot of those, like, we were talking about this the other night off the podcast or whatever, but it's like all these schools or whatever are producing all these, hundreds and hundreds of, degree carrying animators every year, but nobody's really making their own films. Like they all graduate from these schools and just kind of, like their goal is to make other people's movies, and that just doesn't, and it really doesn't make sense to me. Like I would never, that's never really my goal.
They're obviously totally different from us. Like, they're taught how to work for other people and how to be dependent. They're not taught everything. They're only taught a certain part of the workflow, so they can't go and make a whole film in every way and like do all that. Maybe some of them can, but that's not their goal, and that's not what the school is teaching them to do. And I mean, maybe that worked in the past. I mean, I'm not fucking rich. I mean, they're making more money.
Yeah, I'm not either. So maybe they're right
about that. So, but I just kind of think, if you have your own ideas, and maybe, I don't know, maybe what we're doing is in the future, it'll be like it's all about making your own movies, and I don't want to call it content, but having your own original content that you own and you get paid for and stuff. But that's the.
I guess not everyone does want to tell stories too. I guess there are a lot of people who just want to go and just like the animation aspect of it, or just the modeling aspect of it. It just, I don't know, it just never made any sense to me.
Well, I think the thing is, because with animation, I mean, you are telling a story with one shot. You can. It's like character's sad and then he gets burnt, whatever. So you can tell miniature stories. I think it comes down to how big are the stories you want to tell.
Yeah.
And like how much do you have to say? If you have to say, that was funny, ha ha ha, like I'm going to make a joke, here's my joke, joke's over, then make short films or animate single shots. But if you have like a fucking theory of the universe or how a world, like if you have big ideas, then you need to find a whole fucking movie to encapsulate your ideas. I mean, right? I mean, I'm usually the person that has fucking too much to say. So that's why I know, like, I need to make movies, because in real life, I have too much to say and no one will listen or whatever, so like...
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just, I guess people just get into it for different reasons. But I'm kind of glad I never went to animation school, I guess, because it just forced me to learn on my own, and then I wouldn't have ended up making my own movies too.
Probably not.
It's like I remember I tried to get into film school. Like that's what I originally wanted to do when I first got out of high school, but like I didn't want to go to college at all, but if I was going to go to college, I wanted to go to like a film program. But in order to do that in Penn State and my state school or whatever, you had to go for a year in just general education and then transfer into the film department and then all this other nonsense. And I was like, I don't really want to do any of that. I just kind of want to make a movie. So that's just kind of what I did. It took years. It probably took longer than it would have, but maybe that's for the better. Because if I would have made the movies, that I had, like as an 18-year-old kid in my head, like I would have made the talking toaster movie that I wrote. You know what I mean? The movie about the killer talking toaster that I wrote when I was 18. That probably would have been the movie I made if I had the opportunity to.
Yeah, and I mean those schools, like if you look at like Pixar, it's like, okay, you want to fucking work at Pixar, go pay $100 or whatever, $80,000 a year and go to Cal Arts. And then you'll go work at Pixar or DreamWorks or something, and like you're part of someone else's thing. It's like some dude who like, I want to make a movie about this guy who misses his toy or whatever, and it's like, I guess it's cool, you're making a bunch of money and you're animating, but I mean, people like us, that's not what I don't want to put my life into that. Like
like that, and it's like when you start making stuff and putting it on the internet and everything, like you kind of start getting like job offers and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to refuse every now and then, too, but because you got to pay your bills and everything. But it's also like a setback, because that's a couple months you got to take out to work on something else.
Yeah, it's definitely I was just talking about that with the composer of my new movie. We were just talking about the work and things you have to do just to enable to keep doing the shit you want to do.
Yeah.
And that trade-off, and like how I think a lot of people can get like, they have an idea for the stuff they want to do, and they're like, I just need to do this side work so that I'll be able to do it, and they start doing the side work, then maybe they have a kid, and then get married or whatever, and then bam, then they're like 45 or something, and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, now I can finally do that thing I wanted to do. Like, wait, what did I want to do?
Yeah.
So
you kind of find a way to just kind of utilize your time, right? Like take advantage of your situation. Like if you have time off now, like that for the next set amount of time you don't have to work a job or whatever. Like you have enough to sustain yourself. Like that's the best time to do anything. Like not squander that time away. Not like, oh, I'm going to use this year that I have to party. It's like you got to use that year to do something quick. Otherwise, you might get stuck in something like that. You might get stuck making wedding videos or whatever, you know.
Well, that's what fucking...
That was always my biggest fear, that I would end up having to do something like that. And like,
well, dude, I did that already.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it or anything. I'm not knocking it. It was just always my biggest fear that if I started doing stuff like that, I'd get stuck in like a loop and have to do it forever and like with no way out. So I haven't had to go that route, luckily. So I'm just trying to use time.
There's fucking, you're not digging ditches and shit. You know, there's far worse fucking jobs than like making writing videos, whatever. But it used to be a lot of money, but you know, yeah.
Just like anything in general. Like if you have time, like if you have some downtime to do something, like or if you're still at your parents' house, like take advantage of that as long as possible.
Yeah, it's like you never...
Your parents are paying your bills, make your movies while they're doing it.
Yeah, I guess when I was like 17, 18, it was like, you know, I would go to like the coffee shop or something and write my ideas for my movies, and then I'd like walk home and I'd see people a little bit older than me around my age like trying to get into bars or just fucking doing that like every night, like having a life. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I was just like, you know, it's like you want to be a part of that. Like I had no friends, didn't have a fucking girlfriend, like nothing. I was just some random dude, and a part of me, you know, wanted to be a part of that shit. Yeah. Like I was missing my life or something. But then another part of me told me, nah, the time I'm putting in making these movies, doing this animation will be fucking far more worth it than if I was partying or having a life right now. Mm-hmm. You know, and it was hard at the time. You know, I was working for this wedding video company and doing all this shit. But in the end, like, I'm fucking way glad I did. You can always party later. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, when you got that shit, when, you know, you don't have to fucking pay rent and, like, you have this bubble of time, make the most of it for as long as you never know when it's going to fucking end.
Exactly. Like, it could end suddenly, and then, you know, especially if you're working on, like, a 3D film or something like that, like having to stop halfway through and having to, you know, just do a couple shots a day in between, having a job and everything like that. Like, it gets hectic. Yeah, like I had to do that a couple times on my movie. I had to, you know, get a job for a month or two to save up some money and stop animating. And I'd come home, you know, after a work day and try to animate some shots, and I just couldn't do it.
I mean, that's one thing, too, that can fuck with you, like, depending on how pompous of an artist you are. Like, you think the world's going to wait for you or stop for you. Like, people of the world can be like, oh, okay, I see, you're making your important film. Okay, we'll just, you know, you don't have to pay any money. We'll just give you food for free for, like, you know, or people just understand, and it's like, dude, the world doesn't fucking care. It's our responsibility to fucking scratch and beg and push and fucking whatever we have to do to make our ideas realized, because no one else is going to fight for them, and like the world's going to fucking try, you know. There's going to be some insane fucking girlfriend that's going to fucking come after you and like, let me get in your life. You know, like
that's another thing. Relationships and drug addictions are like the two biggest worst things you can do to try to, like, bad relationships and bad drug addictions will just kill your film and everything.
Yep. That's why I say the only good addiction to have when you're fucking doing this kind of shit is a work addiction.
I'm not gonna lie, I smoke a lot of weed, like a lot, and I have to sometimes, especially when I animate, because I just kind of got to turn my brain to jelly. But like, I never really got into anything else. Like, I don't even drink. You know
that's what and We Are the Strange, I had to drink, like, I was drinking red wine and like coffee. That was my two things while working, because that's how you make your brain turn jelly. Mine was just to get my inner fucking critic to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, weed helps that too.
Because that's, you know, it can kill you. Like, what the fuck are you doing sitting here, you fucking loser? This shit sucks. You're never gonna get done. Blah blah blah.
Sometimes you just gotta slow everything down, just like breathe and just take it one thing at a time. Like, all right, maybe I don't gotta do 20 shots. Maybe if I just get this one shot done, I'll be okay.
Yeah, it's like you have to get lost in the moment.
And it gets overwhelming sometimes. Like, it just, everything, sometimes things happen too quickly or too slowly, and it's just like, you know what I mean? You just want to scream and jump up and smash things. And sometimes I do. I mean, you know, we actually have a pit behind my house where we put all our broken furniture, and sometimes we go back there and just smash stuff.
Yeah, I like, when I'm at my best or least fucking insane, I make sure I go like run a couple miles like every morning, like at fucking 5 in the morning, just to like get that insanity fucking, you know.
Yeah, I do that too. When I was working on my, not really now because I'm on the East Coast and it's winter right now. But during the summer, like I have train tracks that run behind my house through this long woods, and every morning I would get up and walk like a mile or two down there and back, and then come in, and then I'd start animating and stuff like that.
Because, you know, you hear all these people, like professional filmmakers or whatever, who are paid like shitloads of money and have these whole teams of people supporting them, and they know when they finish their project, like their publicist is going to publicize it, their distributor's going to sell it, they're going to have premieres, but we don't have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you're working, nobody cares. We don't know who's going to pay for it. We haven't been paid for it. No one's helping us. No one's fucking doing anything. So yeah, it can be daunting. It can be working and like, what the fuck? You're wasting your life. You fucking loser. Oh, you're never going to do this. I mean, at least that's what's in my head a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, definitely. Me too. I call them brain demons.
Yeah.
They scream so loudly sometimes.
For me, I mean, I've done things the way I had to, but definitely, I keep saying this. I'm like, well, next movie, I'm going to sell it ahead of time.
Yeah. It's hard to do that, too, though, unless you already have... I mean, you have much more of a name than I do, like, so it'd probably be a little bit easier for you, but...
Yeah, well, my strategy, I don't know. I just figured if I did 2 animated features, like We Are the Strange, Heartstring Marionette, when it comes out, then hopefully people will be like, all right, this dude knows what he's doing. He's put out these things, they got higher in quality, all right, maybe we can give him some cash ahead of time to buy the rights to his next one. So
yeah, and the thing is, like, how would you do that? Would you like sell them a piece of the movie, or would you just have a like pre-sell like a contract for, you know, a specific time of the ownership? Like how would you approach something like that?
Yeah, it's just like well, I'm no expert, my understanding is that you sell the distribution rights before the film's even made. So it's like all those film markets, whatever, they'll have like a poster or a fucking spec trailer, and then say some foreign distributor, okay, we'll give you 20 grand for the rights to distribute that right now, and then we'll take that off your blah, 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 blah. But it's pretty much people saying, we will buy it, we'll distribute it, here's some money, and then, you know, whatever you do with it, if it helps you make it. I mean, for a normal studio, that wouldn't do shit for them, but for us, it's like, look, a big budget.
Yeah. Oh, look, I can pay the bills for a year.
Yeah, so
the electric bill won't get shut off this month.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that's working against us. Like here in California, the PG&E, the gas power company, put in these smart meters. So now they know exactly how much power you're using at all times. So like they charge you like triple the fucking rate if you're using power between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So that, I can't have any of my shit on like between those hours because the bill just gets insane, and that's definitely working against us because that's only going to go up.
Yeah, luckily they don't have that around me yet because I still live in the middle of nowhere, and it's still kind of like 1992 out here.
That's right.
Like I still don't even have like a house address, so I think I'll be all right on that for a couple more years.
So people are like listening to "I Got 5 on It."
Yeah. Actually, yeah. If you turn on any radio station in the area, it's still like Stone Temple Pilots and Nirvana. Like they never kind of got out of that point.
You sure you're not in some time paradox created by the Montauk Project up out there?
Sometimes, because I'm in the mountains, and
you're in 1983.
Yeah, 1983. That was the year I was born, actually.
Correct, dude. You are part of the Montauk Project. There's Preston Nichols there right now.
That's me.
But, well, we're talking about conspiracy, nuttery, mind control, time travel.
Oh.
Right.
Yes.
Nuttery. Yeah.
We could go a whole different direction, but...
That's the other
that
podcast.
wouldn't really be productive. Yeah, that wouldn't be productive to 3D animation.
So, yeah, a lot of things... I mean, hopefully we don't make it sound too terrible, right?
I mean, it's not terrible if you have the patience.
So why is it worth it? Say, maybe there's some kid or someone listening to this, like, that maybe wants to fucking take the leap and make their own shit, but why is it worth it? Why do you think
I just like having things to show people, even if when they hate it, when I get negative comments, I still kind of like it because it's just kind of funny to me. I don't know. I just like having things to show people. Really, is I think what it comes down to me. And like the prospect of money for these things is just like a recent thing in my head now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I never thought it would go. Like I never thought I'd have anyone even pick up my DVD. You know, I didn't know it would go this far. It just kind of happened by accident. So I guess that's kind of what it is. It's just because you never really know what's going to happen.
I guess, yeah, for me, it's like more of like, it gives me an identity. Like having stuff gives me an identity or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, because I can't stand people that just fucking like talk and don't do. And, you know, and creative shit or whatever. There's so many people that like, yeah, man, if I made the album, it'd be the greatest album ever because I have the greatest taste. Or like, if I made a movie, you know, fuck, dude, it'd be like this because I have the best taste in movies and this. And it's like, but it's like, you know, if you're like, it's like, who are you? What are you? What is your essence? What is your thing? You know, how do you define yourself? How are you going to define your fucking like time on this planet? So for me, it's like, creating a movie is like a fucking time. It's like an emotional, energetic, fucking psychological time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
So like Heartstring Marionette will be my life from the years 2008 to 2012. Here's all the shit I learned. Here's all the, you know, like, here's me.
Yeah, it kind of is like that. It's kind of like, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, it's like you can, when you look back on your films, you kind of see who you were hanging out with at that point in time too, like based on who's in it, like
and
you know what friends you had, exactly, and who you liked, and like bands and stuff. Like it's just like it's like every movie's just kind of like a glimpse into that point in your life.
And that's how you learn, you know, like if you don't know what you've been through or where you know, it's like you look back at that shit and you're like, oh, that's who I was. Wow, well, this is who I am now. Or you know, it's like a new movie is like, you know, when I made We Are the Strange, it's like, that's who I was then, and I'm not that person now, so it's like, that's really why I want to fucking put out Heartstring Marionette, because it's like, this is who I am now, I'm not that anymore, and you know, like...
Yeah, I mean, second films can be hard, too, you know? Expectations and everything, but I think yours is, I'm really looking forward to yours, like, I really want to see that.
Yeah, me too.
like I like We Are the Strange and everything, and I like your Badass for shorts and everything. But I think that's the one that's gonna best represent you. You know.
Man, you know, I mean, it's been 5 years since I put out a movie, but I really didn't start working on it till the beginning of 2008. So it's fucking. I mean, I put my best into it, you know. So.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of stuff. I mean, I can't really explain all of it, but.
Yeah. It'll all pay off in the end.
Yeah, I was talking to
get out there.
To Indica, the composer, this morning, and because we're like, oh man, you know, like, of course, like we're saying, there's no money at the end of the rainbow guaranteed. It's like work we have to do. But I was like, dude, you know what? When we finish this, no matter what, I know it's not a check that's written, or it's not money in your bank account. It's not anything guaranteed. But when it's done and completed and like on a disc that you can give to someone, you'll be paid back like 1,000-fold just from that feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, when you have your finished movie, isn't it like somehow it was all worth it?
Yeah, it's like when people respond to it, like in any way, like whether positive or negative, it's like you affected a piece of the world somehow. You like left your little stamp on it, you know? Like it'll be forever. It just lasts forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
On and on and on.
And it's just so I think I guess you can't, maybe you can try to explain it, but I guess some of us just have a need to put out because, you know, I noticed like in a lot of your films, it's kind of, I mean, it's totally your world. It's your style, your world. It's a different place.
Yeah.
And it's how you look at things or your ideas on what is behind the scenes and all that stuff, and it's totally like it's your word, and like you're putting that out there into the world through movies, and there's no one else doing that or saying it in the same way. So it's like, you know, people say that art is a conversation that's been going on before we were born and it will continue to go on. So it's like you're writing your paragraphs, you know, in that conversation. That's how I look at it too.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely.
And then someone will read your passage and then write something else based on that, or read mine, and like, you know, it's like.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe in 20 years, like a new whole generation will discover our films. You know, and look at them like a whole different way. Maybe they'll get them more. Yeah, they'll understand more.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching horror movies. Like, I was really into horror movies my whole life, and like my whole life growing up and everything, everyone, like, you know, kind of didn't like them. They were like, "Oh, horror movies are stupid, and you're stupid for liking them." And then, 20 years later, as an adult, like, you meet there's like whole undercurrents of kids now who are all into the same movies you were growing up, you know? Like it became this whole, like they discovered them years later, and whole new generations discover them on new formats and everything, and they just go on.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of like that for me, like with the whole chiptune thing, and the whole 8-bit music thing. Like, you know, I've been fucking around with that since like 2001 or something. And then when I made We Are the Strange, it's like, you know what? I really dig this shit, and I know a bunch of dudes who are dope in like chiptune, and I want to make this movie kind of like as my homage to fucking chiptune and 8-bit stuff. And then I made it, and it was like, okay, well, I guess it's kind of, I guess, whatever. And then, you know, years later, not that many years later, that Scott Pilgrim movie came out, and then all of a sudden, like, had, you know, chiptune pixel shit in it, and then there's all this pop music with chiptune, and then Minecraft came out, which is like pixel shit. So now people are like, oh, yeah, this is cool. It's like Minecraft. It's like blah, 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 and it's, you know. So.
It sometimes just takes people a long time to really grasp onto something, which is unfortunate.
Like the funny, I did that mindless self-indulgence video in 2007 or something, and I did it like they looked all blocky, like pixel looking. And if you look at the comments, I remember when it first came out, people were like, "The fuck is this shit? It looks like fucking gay Legos. This fucking sucks. Like these graphics, whatever." And then now people are like, "This is awesome. It's Minecraft self-indulgence. It's just like Minecraft. Oh wow, this is great." And it's like,
so you had to put it in a context.
Yeah, that's been the hardest thing for me, is finding that context. And like how to describe my movies to other people, because I'm horrible at that, and I don't know what to say.
Like, I had to write the synopsis for my movie for the DVD, and I didn't even know what to say. Like, I don't even know what it's about.
That's where, like, with We Are the Strange, people are like, what is it about? And I'd be like, well, you see, it's about this doll who blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what I learned through going to all the screenings and telling people the best way to describe it is, you should watch it. That was the best thing I could do. That, like, was the best. That worked. Why not? Because it's all fucked up and fucking crazy, and it's not even, like, a real movie. It's just all fucked up. Don't watch it. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it's crazy. Whoa, I kind of liked it, though. So, it's kind of like, you know, as a person, usually we want to be fucking, I mean, I did. It's like, as a person, I want to be this fucking mysterious artist person, whatever, just say, for example. That's not the truth. But then people meet you, and they're like, you're kind of funny and goofy. And it's like, no. I'm mysterious. I'm this. And, you know, it's like, with your movie, we have our idea on how we want people to perceive it and how it should be viewed, but that's, like, none of our business. You know, it's like, the audience will tell you.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
What it is, and I think you just kind of have to...
I mean, yeah, it's, I don't know, man. I don't even know. Like, it's I don't know, I kind of got lost in a little triangle here.
Okay, well, because I was going to say, you know, some psychologists could be like, well, Jimmy Screamerclauz, your last film deals with childhood sexual abuse and the dissociative identity disorder it will cause and blah, blah, right? And if you put that in your synopsis...
Yeah, that's the thing, too.
People
like,
would be like, what? But if it was just like, this shit is fucked up, baby, rape your face, bitch, they'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see the baby face rape, bitch. Bring her on. You gotta kind of like, with my stuff anyway, I always gotta find a way to like kind of clean it up a little bit. Like, that's what the guy from Unearthed keeps telling me. He's like, you gotta find just a way to present it. Like, the content on the disc doesn't matter so much. We just gotta... Oh, dude, yep. We just gotta find a way to... find a way to describe it to the normal public.
That's the hardest thing for me. But that's so important.
If you want to sell it anyway, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta be...
Like he was... Like, the guy from Unearthed was telling me, like... I don't know how many people are familiar with their movies, but one of the movies they put out is called Aftermath. And Aftermath's just like, it's just a corpse fucking movie. Like, it's a half an hour of just this dude fucking a corpse. It's not even in English. And there's really not even, like, dialogue. It's just this dude fucking a corpse with beautiful cinematography and beautiful music for like a half an hour straight. And so it was time to try to get that movie in the Best Buy or whatever. You know? And he was telling me that it's just the sales reps from store to store change all the time. So it's like you can sneak some stuff by one sales rep, but then the next sales rep, he said, like, they tried to bring the movie to them, and she's like, necrophilia? What's that exactly? Like, the lady on the phone didn't even know what necrophilia was. So the dudes on Earth were like, sex with corpses and shit. Oh my, no, I don't think we can carry that in our stores. So that one kind of slipped through the cracks. Couldn't get into Best Buy, but their last one got into Best Buy because the dude was a big horror movie fan. So he's just kind of like, yeah, buy horror. Yeah, put it in. Put it all in. Horror, horror, horror. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, the person who's receiving it too, but knowing how to properly present it or market it,
Yeah. So that's another big thing is marketing and everything. I guess you're supposed to think about that before the film.
I mean, normally people, directors or whoever never thought about that shit. Why should they care? But I mean, with the way we do it, it's like we're that guy too, so.
Yeah, exactly, because you got to make the movie all yourself, and then when it's done, you're like, oh, now I got to sell this to somebody. Or distribute it yourself.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons I didn't distribute it myself is because, I went through a lot of time making it in HD, and I didn't want to just download it to DVD, and it's very hard for just, me or you to go to a pressing plant and get a DVD made, or a Blu-ray made. Because, what is it, like $5,000 fee right up front just for the licensing?
It's like $3,500, up front, plus you have to pay per disc, and it has to be authorized and all this shit. And
yeah, so it's like me and you can't really do Blu-ray by ourselves yet. And the DVD sales are down. It's from what I've been reading, like nobody's really buying them anymore. And I know all the emails that I've been getting about my movie are either related to the Blu-ray or the VHS, because I'm doing a limited edition VHS. Nobody's
Did you
really
do any extras, like on the Blu-ray or whatever?
Yeah, the Blu-ray and the DVD has a bunch of extras. I did a commentary track, which I was really tired and kind of down and weirded out for. And so I'll probably sound really weird on there, so I apologize in advance. I was just really, really tired. There's just some stuff of us doing like Connect, and some of me doing like interviewing Linnea Quigley before we did the voice acting and everything. So there's some extras on there. Then the VHS, I did some exclusive extras. Like I put some of my music videos on there that have like Shirley Temple and shit in them, because I can't get away with that on a Blu-ray in stores. But a couple VHSs just floating around, nobody really gives a shit about.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because I mean that's the only thing about DVD that I guess those iTunes movie has iTunes extras, but I was just like, how do you do all the extras?
Yeah, I mean it's the Blu-ray doesn't have anything that the DVD doesn't. The VHS is the only one that has the alternate stuff.
Shit, we like kind of accidentally went into a commercial for your new movie. So you should tell people what it is and where they can buy it.
Oh well, my movie's called Where the Dead Go to Die. It's comes out February 21st in all whatever stores you can get into, I suppose, but all the online ones for sure.
It's in Amazon. I saw it in Amazon.
Yeah, you can already pre-order it on Amazon, and it's on all the other ones too. And Unearthed will have limited editions up soon on their site that you can order. There's only 100 of those, 100 DVD, 100 Blu-ray, and 100 VHS.
Yeah, I'd say the VHS is one to get for sure. And
it's got the M. Strange exclusive Heartstring Marionette trailer on it.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of that, since we're wrapping up our first podcast right now, if you want to know more about my latest movie, Heartstring Marionette, you should go to m.strange.com. And I made a book called A Book, and it's like the making of a book, and has all this stuff in it. So you can check that out. But yeah, man. So we're back to work, right? Busy working away at our personal animation factories.
I didn't read A Book, but I did read B Book, and I really did enjoy B Book. So I recommend that one too to anybody.
Yeah, and that one's, you can buy the real book on from my website m.strange.com, or you can get there's a free download too of the EPUB if you want to check it out. So
I got the cheapo black and white version of your book. I admit it. Because you had like a black and white and a color one, and the black and white one was like a lot cheaper than the color.
It's crazy. I mean, I use CreateSpace. That's like the on-demand publishing thing. But it's like, yeah, if you have like 200 pages color, it's like $20. Like costs, and if you do a black and white, it's like $1. So,
but it was a good book. I recommend it. I enjoyed it for sure.
Glad you did, man.
For sure.
So we're going to be doing this as a regular podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever we end up posting this, if anybody has any questions or like whatever stuff you want us to talk about, please.
Yes, for sure. Otherwise, we'll just keep ranting.
Yeah, and we're going to have other filmmaker types and animator people on here too. This was just our first one, so you're not forever alone, because now you have they have us as their friends, right?
Oh, we are everybody's friends.
Yeah.
We're the weird friends that other people are afraid to be friends with, but then you can be those people too.
So no, if you're some weirdo out there in a basement with no friends making some shit no one gets, except for like 4 people in Switzerland, or maybe you don't even have 4 people in Switzerland. Maybe there's nobody because you haven't made it yet, whatever. But know that there's other weirdos like you out there in basements around the world.
There is, and you know what? I'm a grown man, and now I pay for a basement of my own.
Yes, and I'm a grown man that plays with dolls proudly.
Oh, in his basement of his own.
Yes.
Oh, you still have a basement?
No. But I talk to my cat like it's a baby all the time. I think that's pretty weird.
That's pretty weird, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully no one hears that ever.
I don't have any pets, but I have mice that live in the walls that I just don't kill, so they're kind of like my pets.
Yeah.
I hear them going around sometimes.
All right, so on this happy end, let's until next time, Jimmy Screamerclauz, forever alone.
Forever alone, bro.
Thank you for listening to the Forever Alone Filmmaking Podcast. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section wherever this shit is posted. We'll do our best to answer them in a future show. We'll have more guests, animators, filmmakers, weirdos, who create alone. Until next time. It's a lonely world, but someone's gotta do it. Because Hollywood fucking sucks.